guys, it's episode 1 of my franchise series. So this is a zoo that I started when I first got the game back in November. It's not horrible franchise, there's a lot of afterthoughts, things that I didn't know about really going into the game, and so the placement of some things are a little off. Also, it's the land of unfinished projects. There's not really anything that got finished in here, but nonetheless, it was a great learning experience, and instead of starting franchise over completely, I decided to just swipe this one because we have our research done for everything, and so that's a very time-consuming task that I didn't really want to, start from scratch. I've got tons of staff that are at 5 stars, so we will be getting rid of some, but it's nice to have, that starting the zoo with some good staff. And then again, money-wise, taking the risk of starting a new franchise and tanking it just really isn't something that I wanted to do. So the first few exhibits, I like them, or habitats I should say, I like them. I like the viewing platforms, but I do find it's a little crowded, and then the habitats themselves never really got decorated. Then we have the cave, which was the first thing that I put in the zoo. I took out a $50,000 loan, got the 14 exhibits in right away. I find that starting with the exhibits was the best thing. You get money back fairly rapidly with them, especially with the Titan Beetle and the Goliath Beetle. I find those are the best money makers. They don't make as much as some of the higher ranked exhibit animals. However, they reproduce so quickly and in such large amounts that you really get that return fairly quick. So the cave was a much larger project than I had anticipated, and that is one of the reasons why it never got done. But I do like the concept of it, and it might be something that I try again in the future. So you're going to see a lot of shops and stuff just plastered. During one of the updates, all of a sudden it just hit where I was tanking. The money was going down. I went from 4 million down to about $500,000 in a matter of minutes, and so I really had to work on getting that guest rating up, so we just plastered the shops absolutely everywhere I could fit them. So that's what happened there. Now the cheetahs, those were for one of the challenges, so again, that's not very decorated. As you can see in the background, we've got floating facilities everywhere. The macaque habitat I'm not overly happy with. I didn't like the tree in the center, but I do like the sign work, so we're going to retry making stuff like that. Now here you can see the lowland gorilla exhibit. I do like the overall look of this one. However, I kind of cheated and used the blueprints for the climbing materials. Instead of building my own, I just went and used that. Also, some of the trees, I wasn't familiar with the advanced move tool at the time, so some of them are crooked and it just looks funny. And here we have one of our beautiful albino gorillas. I really like the look of this one. I don't like the look of all albino animals. I find some of them just look a little off, but this one looks really good in the game. And so, like I said, I like the look of it. As you can tell, I really like circular things. But it just bothers me that I didn't create those climbing enrichment pieces. Here we have the pandas. Again, this one I'm more tolerant with. However, I do feel like I need to take a little more time when it comes to placing trees and stuff. I just feel like it's, I went through the trees and I was filling up the meter, and once the meter was full, I stopped. So I'd like to make some more time and make sure that the placement is really nice and a little more natural. Moving on, we have another circular habitat. This one is the bonobos. And I just learned a lot of facts about these guys recently watching Joe Rogan, and it's very interesting. They're not very PG rated animals. Anyhow, again, the climbing platforms, I I made them in this one. However, like there's parts of them that are floating. It's just, again, it's not very realistic. And so I really want to work on the realistic aspect. I don't want to go as detailed as we are in Shanty Park. Just because piece count and money wise and franchise to be, mindful of. But I do want it to be a little more realistic where things aren't floating. And then we had a very two-toned bonobo, which was actually two standing in the same spot. Now over here, this is breeding grounds central. So when I started actually paying attention to the challenges and really trying to go above and beyond just getting, like a pair of shorts or a shirt, actually getting them all and then going further than that, that's where this came from. So I'd have a main one, and I started this with the zebras, I believe. And so the zebras had their main, habitat that people could see, and then there was the extra ones on the side. I called them the sideshows, and I would do the breeding over there and then bring just a couple into the main one. However, eventually, when it came to the next challenge and the next challenge, I just left the zebras in the main one and then kept using those side ones. And so the aldabras, tortoises, and the wild dogs and stuff, guests never actually could see them because they were strictly in the breeding zone. And then we have a ton of albino lions, and I'm not 100% sure how I came around to getting all albino. I was very strict on how I did the breeding and everything, and I had a kind of like a breeding program going, ensuring there was no, incest going on. They were not inbreeding. However, with all the challenges and mainly going back to franchise to work on challenges between all the bugs and the fixes and everything that we got recently, I kind of let breeding go. I think I've been thinking about, restarting this one for a while, and so I just kind of let things let loose a little bit. Then we have the flamingos, which was the first animal habitat that I put in, and I actually really like this one. I mean, the shelter clearly needs some work, but aside from that, the main components, I do really like the overall outcome. It was like my little flamingo island that we called Flamingo Bay. And again, I really like the signage on that one. So a few of these signs, like the Macaque Mania sign and the Flamingo Bay sign, those are in my workshop on Steam. And so I'll post some links below. But yeah, so overall, it wasn't a horrible park. It just, I really need to take some time to work on finishing projects. So now, as you can see, we're gonna have a quick time lapse, and the blow up begins. So unfortunately, blowing up the entire zoo is not an option in this game. I can't really just hit a button and clear everything and restart from scratch without going and starting up a new franchise and losing the research and the money. So this took a lot more time than expected. I was under the impression, the way that I've seen or heard other people talk about it, that I could have more animals in the trade center than 30. However, that was not the case. So I kind of had to pick and choose which animals I was going to keep in there, as well as then let the rest of them, I had a lot of babies, let the rest of them grow up, and so then I could release them to the wild or sell them and such. And so we switched between play and pause a few times so that I can let the animals grow up, as well as not lose too much money at the same time, because now the park's closed and we have no income. So we're saying goodbye to all our circles, no more crop circles in this park. And yeah, we're going to be starting from scratch. So here we go. We have a fresh start. Everything is gone except for one. In the breeding area, I left one habitat because we've got 3 tortoises that still aren't of age yet, and our animal trading is full. So here's a quick glimpse at what we've still got. Now I tried to keep gold tier ratings only, However, there's a few things that, I just made an exception because, and we've got a pesky flamingo in there. I don't want any more flamingos. And then as well, I have all these gift ones from all the different challenges. I haven't touched any of these yet. So these are what I've gotten in the last few challenges. And so hopefully we'll be able to get a few more and pair those off and then incorporate them into this zoo as well. So I look forward to getting a fresh start on this, and I hope you guys do too. If you have any ideas or concepts for me to implement into this zoo, I would love to hear them, and feel free to put those in the comments down below.